everyone. My name is Vanessa Garofalo, and I'm the Teaching and Digital Projects Librarian at the Oxford College Library. Before we get into our presentation, I just want to give you a little bit of background information about Oxford. First, our campus in Oxford, Georgia is the birthplace of Emory University. In 1919, the university moved to Atlanta, and our campus later became Oxford College. Today, Oxford offers first and second year students at Emory a small liberal arts college environment set within a large research university. Students have many opportunities to do research very early in their academic careers before transitioning to the Atlanta campus at the beginning of their junior year. Oxford is dedicated to providing students with an experiential learning environment where they're encouraged to become leaders both in the classroom and on campus. In the first part of our presentation, Ellen is going to tell you a little bit more about our experiential learning environment and some of the challenges the COVID-19 pandemic has presented.
Hello, I would like to give a brief review of why creating digital tools for our existing teaching and learning program at Oxford College was such a challenge. In the past 5 years at Oxford, a new dean came aboard, and his new vision and strategic plan for the college was christened Pathways of Excellence. The tenets of this new strategic plan were very experiential learning focused. To break down Pathways of Excellence into its three essential components, it's designed to interconnect a close-knit residential learning community, provide a philosophy of integrative learning that starts in the classroom and expands to campus and society, and offers plenty of leadership opportunities for real life. Within that new strategic plan, we also, as a college, came up with new student learning outcomes in 2019. You'll see there are many parallels to the ALA framework for information literacy. The language explaining each of these 7 outcomes listed here is very hands-on focused. Words like discovering, exploring, communicating, distinguishing, socially responsible, engagement, experiencing, context inquiry, very experience-based. So how could we achieve these learning outcomes and adhere to the new strategic plan? Some ways that were established are our theory, practice, service learning units that took students out into the community in the Covington, Oxford, Atlanta area. And Oxford has an organic farm on our campus with courses that integrated learning at the farm, such as sociology, biology, chemistry, archaeology, and the less obvious theater department, who use the farm as a location to experiment with sound recording. We have travel experiences, and as mentioned previously, a multitude of leadership opportunities early in an undergraduate's career, such as RA, peer leader, library leader, SGA officer, things that might not normally be afforded to first and second year students. In conjunction with Pathways of Excellence was the addition to our curriculum of discovery seminars, which are courses each first-year student must take with information literacy as one of its outcomes, with embedded librarians at a faculty member's request. We'll talk more about discovery seminars later in the presentation. So that was the college ethos, and from a library perspective, we have always had a similar approach. We have a personal librarian model between librarian and faculty where we meet one-on-one with them to create individualized instruction for their courses. And we'll discuss that again too. So with this personal structure, we did not have an independent library 101 type course that we could quickly convert into an online environment. All librarians, as well as other staff, were available to provide one-on-one individual research help to students in person. Flipping to a remote environment was 100% contrary to our ethos, and it didn't work with our existing teaching and learning program. In addition, we had challenges with materials and access. For example, when we went remote, international students had issues with access to the VPN and to databases, films, and ebooks. In fact, we had not made a practice of ordering ebooks specifically because the University Library Collections Division had just wrapped up a task force that found the majority of users still preferred physical books. So we had to quickly change our collections practices and figure out a budget for ebooks and multi-user licensing and access. Similarly, with our close-knit residential learning style, the library supported faculty requests to provide in-person film screenings. Making the jump to exclusively streaming presented challenges with costs, time constraints, film licensing, and access. The bottom line was it was very difficult for us to continue with our existing instruction support, our materials and lesson plans and programs in an actual online environment.
My name is Le-Huu Pineault, and I'm a teaching and learning librarian at the Oxford College Library. I will be talking about the library's contribution to the Oxford College online teaching program, which we refer to as OCAT. So what is OCAT? OCAT is a training program that was offered in the summer of 2020 to help support Oxford faculty members as they prepared for a hybrid fall semester. The program consisted of 10 flipped trainings, which all included a Canvas learning module and a synchronous discussion session. Trainings addressed topics such as creating community in an online classroom, designing a syllabus for an online course, and academic integrity in an online environment. Each training highlighted best practices as well as key tools and resources. Faculty members were incentivized to participate in the program. The Oxford College Library was invited to contribute a training module and discussion session. With the move to online teaching and learning in March of 2020, our team of teaching librarians had gained experience supporting Oxford faculty with online teaching and offering library instruction in a remote format. The Oxford College Library module, integrating student information literacy and library research, services, and resources online, was divided into 3 main sections: information literacy, library instruction services, and library resources. Based on our remote teaching and learning experience, there were some things we wanted to make sure that we addressed in the module and session. This included common misconceptions about students' information literacy and research skills, copyright and fair use considerations for online teaching, custom library modules and research guides, and integrating electronic library resources such as streaming films in courses. We created an introductory video to let faculty know what to expect from the module. We also crafted learning outcomes and built opportunities to engage with the content into the module through discussion boards and a short reflective assignment. We estimated that our module would take approximately an hour to complete. A few things that we did, which based on faculty feedback, we believe helped make the module and synchronous discussion more engaging, include addressing common misconceptions about students' information literacy skills. It was great to learn about faculty perceptions of their students' information literacy levels. In discussion boards, participants shared tips and resources they used to help foster those skills in the classroom. Establishing a shared vocabulary around information literacy by highlighting the ways in which Oxford College learning outcomes and AAC&U LEAP learning outcomes align with the ACRL framework for information literacy. We found that the scholarship as conversation frame resonated with many of our faculty. Overall, we were pleased with the level of engagement we saw, both in our online discussion and our synchronous sessions. Participants posted around 50 thoughtful responses to our online discussion prompts and completed 31 reflection assignments. Examples of feedback we received includes the following. Our team of teaching librarians built on our experience with designing this flipped learning offering when creating a student-facing discovery seminar module.
Hi, I'm Paige, and I'm going to share a little more about our student-facing Discovery Seminar module. The Discovery Seminars are small, 16-student courses led by a faculty member at Oxford in a topic of their choice. Some examples of Discovery Seminar courses taught in the fall of 2021 can be seen here on the Oxford College website. Designed to introduce students to inquiry, the research process, and information literacy, the Discovery Seminars have been fruitful ground for collaborative work between faculty and librarians. Every student at Oxford College is required to enroll in one of these Discovery Seminars in their first semester, and the librarians identified this course as a perfect entry point to introduce students to the library and get them started engaging in critical information skills when they are just beginning their 4 years at Emory. Academic year 2019 to 2020 was actually the first full year of the full implementation of this requirement, and librarians had been very successful in the fall of 2019 working with faculty to develop customized, course-tailored instruction for these courses. Obviously, after the events of spring 2020, we knew we would need to adjust our approach. Since the onset of COVID meant that the teaching librarians would not be able to work face-to-face with students in the classroom like we were accustomed to, we wanted to develop an engaging, flipped way for students to interact with library instruction content. This served two purposes: in some classes that did not meet synchronously, or for faculty who adjusted course structures and could not fit in a remote visit from a librarian, students could work through these library tutorials to be introduced to library resources and the concepts of information literacy. They could then follow up with a librarian remotely for further help. It also provided a solid launching pad for students in classes that did include a visit from a librarian to a synchronous session. Faculty could assign the Discovery Seminar modules as pre-work, which allowed library sessions to be more focused on class assignment-specific considerations and discussion of things students still felt confused about. We hoped that allowing students multiple means of engaging with the content on their own, in class, and alongside a librarian in a personal research appointment would better hold their interest and keep them motivated to keep learning. Fresh off the success of our OCAT module, the librarians worked throughout the summer of 2020 to create a multi-part information literacy module that could be embedded into the Canvas courses of the approximately 35 Discovery seminars. We built 7 module segments and an additional resources section based around the ACRL's framework for information literacy: becoming a critical thinker, understanding your assignment, asking the right questions, types of information sources, finding evidence, evaluating information, and using information ethically. Though we were working to get these modules finished quickly, we wanted to get some user feedback before we used them in class instruction. We were fortunate to have a large pool of approximately 50 library student employees, and we asked them to test the module and give us their feedback on clarity, usability, and design. We made sure to incorporate their valuable feedback before we unveiled version 1 of the Discovery Seminar module to the faculty instructors in fall of 2020. In addition to librarian-written content, we utilized the Credo InfoLit tutorials and videos, a package we had recently acquired. We were able to choose select videos and tutorials and embed them in the Discovery Seminar module. Though we experienced some hiccups in getting the Credo elements to integrate into Canvas, we did like the content they covered and wanted to include them. We also included Creative Commons infographics and videos created by Bucknell University's Bertrand Library, NCSU Libraries, and UC Merced Library. Each of the 7 sections takes between 5 and 15 minutes to work through, with most averaging around 7 minutes. We designed the module, modularly, so faculty members could assign one, an assortment, or all of the sections to students depending on their needs. We also made the sections adaptable, so a librarian could customize a section to the Discovery Seminar's topic or enhance it if that skill was especially important for the course assignment. For example, I worked with a Discovery Seminar focusing on natural disasters, and I included a new section focusing on understanding the information cycle and how information becomes available after a newsworthy event. Many librarians were similarly able to build on this baseline content when creating tailored content for other Discovery seminars.
In this last section of our presentation, Kerry and I are going to show you some examples of the custom-tailored library instruction that we created for the online learning environment. The first example we're going to show is Oxford's American Studies course, Monuments and Memorials. As the personal librarian for the course's instructor, Dr. Molly McGeehee, I had a working relationship with this faculty member already. Before the pandemic, I often did more than one library instruction session for this course in person. To flip the library instruction for this course, I teamed up with Kerry, and we provided both information literacy and primary source instruction, as well as information about doing archival research. So one of the first things I did was build out a Canvas module that would walk students through the basics of the research process, as well as orient students with the resources and services available remotely through the Emory libraries. This module, which I used to do as a LibGuide, was designed to provide students with some foundational knowledge about research before we met for our synchronous class session on Zoom. I felt that it was better to create a module rather than use a LibGuide, as Canvas is where the students were already, and I really liked the ability to use assignments and discussion boards along with the module content. The faculty member assigned the module as homework, which provided an incentive for students to complete the work before our synchronous Zoom class. Kerry constructed the second half of the module, which focused on primary source instruction and archival research, and Kerry's going to tell you a little bit more about that right now.
Hi everyone, I'm Kerry Bowden, Coordinator of Archives and Special Collections at Oxford College Library. I support primary source instruction and archival research across campus, and our American Studies faculty are some of our most consistent adopters of that instruction from semester to semester. Students meeting on campus in previous semesters had access to hands-on lessons in our reading room, and those lessons typically translated into increased usage and understanding of primary source material in students' final projects, including appropriate attribution of images and full citations. Those students successfully incorporated primary sources from not just Oxford College's collections, but other Emory University Special Collections libraries and external archives into their work. I included most of the introductory concepts we tackle during a student's first archives consultation in the Canvas module Vanessa designed. Everything from navigating finding aids, to situating the Oxford College archives in the context of the Emory libraries, to placing requests for reproductions or scheduling additional research visits, was there for students to work their way through at their own pace the week before our in-class session. To complete the lesson, Vanessa and I, along with Dr. McGeehee, wanted students who weren't able to visit campus to have the same level of access to those resources as they would in an in-person reading room visit, including the presence of staff to assist them. In small groups of 3 to 5 students, each member of the teaching team facilitated a Zoom breakout session by providing integrated accessibility support as well as additional context for the items each group selected for analysis. All the materials were hosted in OneDrive, which all Emory University students, faculty, and staff have access to. In addition to image files and the collaborative documents for each breakout group, I included complete written activity instructions and all the supporting documentation for the session, including transcripts of the primary sources. The transcripts proved essential because even at a high resolution, this document isn't easily legible to students who haven't regularly encountered cursive handwriting. By designing the activity to complement and build upon the Canvas module content, we had the full 75-minute class session to practice primary source analysis. The students were able to approach what had been described in their pre-work with more confidence and be more present and engaged during the analysis and discussion process. Faculty and student feedback indicated that students were eager to locate primary sources from other archives. Several students requested continued access to documents and transcripts, which provided an opportunity for them to place their first requests for reference copies. However, there weren't any students in that semester's Monuments and Memorials class who followed up on research using Oxford's collections. Being away from campus, they had all chosen topics that didn't relate to Oxford's history, whereas more than half of students in previous classes had. Still, preparing for these students' needs helped me have solutions at the ready for a significant increase in remote research requests from other Emory students and external researchers in the spring semester.
Both Anne and I are the personal librarians for the English department at Oxford. Our English 185 and 186 courses are designed to introduce first-year students to literature, research, and writing across the disciplines. This last example I'm going to show is of the scaffolded library instruction I did for Dr. Eric Solomon's English 185 course last year. Similar to what we've shown already, I built a Canvas module that the professor assigned as required pre-work prior to our synchronous Zoom session. I scaffolded the information in the module in such a way that the information was built to align with the professor's major research project for the course. The project involved an autoethnography assignment for which I assigned a concept mapping activity that would get students to think more deeply about the intersectionality of the research topics. These topics evolved from a portion of the research project that required students to think about social groups they identified with. Once students created their concept maps, they were asked to do a think, pair, share activity using the discussion board feature of Canvas. This was designed to replace the in-person version of this activity I did when teaching this class before the pandemic. The concept mapping activity was also used to get students to think about keyword development. During the synchronous Zoom session, students used their concept maps to start doing research in both Google Scholar and some of the library databases, and this was for the literature review portion of the research project. The Canvas module also included information for how students could book a 30-minute research appointment with a librarian via Zoom and what they could expect during that appointment. So in order to assess students' learning, I used LibWizard. So the first thing I did was create a short quiz that I gave at the beginning of the synchronous Zoom session, so that was my pre-test. I also created a research activity sheet that students completed during the workshop portion of the class. And then last, a feedback form, so that was my post-test, that invited students to give qualitative feedback about the Canvas module, the Zoom session, and what they were still struggling with after the library session. In conclusion, these experiences taught the Oxford College Library staff to be even more flexible and to think outside of the box with how we provide our services and resources. The positive feedback we've received from students and faculty has inspired us to offer a hybrid model moving forward. Many of our teaching librarians are still using Canvas as a place to share resources with students and create modules that can be completed before the in-person library instruction sessions we're doing again. We're also providing students with the option to book research appointments either in person or on Zoom, depending on the student's preferences. We hope this session inspired you and gave you some ideas. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us.